Chapter 1. The Emerald Awakening. The Maya, Architects of Time, a Complete History. Deep within the emerald silence of the Mesoamerican rainforest, a civilization rose that defied the very logic of the jungle itself. They were the Maya, a people whose intellectual prowess and architectural ambition etched their story into stone and starlight. Before we begin our journey through 3 millennia of their existence, take a moment to imagine it. No wheels, no iron tools. And yet they engineered limestone cities that touched the clouds. They didn't just track time, they mastered it, devising calendars of astonishing precision that mapped cycles stretching millions of years into the past and future. Today we go beyond the weathered ruins of Tikal and Chichen Itza. We embark on an immersive exploration into the complete history of a people who were, and in their descendants still are, masters of the stars, enigmatic builders, and profound thinkers. Our story begins with humble roots, thousands of years before the Christian era. This is the pre-classic period, roughly from 2000 BCE to 250 CE. It was a time of gradual transformation as nomadic hunter-gatherer bands slowly began to settle, drawn to the fertile lands of what is now Guatemala, Belize, and southern Mexico. The cultivation of maize or corn was the bedrock of this shift. This miraculous grain provided a stable food source, allowing communities to grow and dream beyond mere survival. Early villages, consisting of wattle and daub huts, dotted the landscape, their inhabitants beginning to understand the rhythms of the land and sky. Chapter 2. The Mother Culture Influence. As these villages grew, so too did their ambition. Around 1000 BCE, a monumental influence began to spread, the Olmec civilization. While not directly Maya, the Olmec provided the foundational concepts that the Maya would later refine. From the Olmec, the Maya likely inherited key elements such as the concept of sacred kingship, the ritual ball game, and the first scratches of a writing system. The Maya, however, didn't simply copy, they innovated. By 600 BCE, cities like El Mirador began to emerge, showcasing monumental architecture on an unprecedented scale. They built La Danta, a pyramid so massive it remains one of the largest structures in the ancient world. These early Maya were not just builders, they were astronomers and artists, laying the foundations for one of humanity's most brilliant civilizations. Chapter 2. Continued. The Rise of the City-States. The zenith of Maya civilization arrived with the Classic period, a magnificent era spanning from 250 CE to 900 CE. This was a time of unprecedented intellectual and artistic flourishing. During these 6 centuries, the Maya developed a complex network of independent city-states, each ruled by a divine king, known as the Kuhul Ajal, Kuhul Aha. These kings were not just political leaders. They were seen as intermediaries between the human realm and the cosmos. Cities like Tikal, Palenque, and Copan rose to prominence, becoming centers of power, trade, and learning. Tikal, in its heyday, was home to an estimated 60,000 people, its skyline dominated by towering limestone pyramids and vast plazas. Chapter 3. The Sky Watchers and Mathematicians. The intellectual achievements of the classic Maya are nothing short of astounding. They developed the most sophisticated writing system in the ancient Americas, a complex script of glyphs that recorded their history and religious beliefs. Their understanding of mathematics included the concept of zero, which they used long before its development in many other parts of the world. This profound mathematical insight was critical for their calendrical calculations. The Maya had several interlocking calendars, but their most remarkable achievement was the long count. This linear count of days could track time over millions of years, demonstrating an almost unfathomable grasp of deep time. This calendar was not merely for marking dates. It was deeply intertwined with their cosmology, predicting cosmic cycles and the return of significant deities. Chapter 3 continued. Blood, ritual, and the gods, religion permeated every single breath of Maya life. Their pantheon was vast, filled with powerful deities associated with the sun, the moon, the rain, and the sacred maize. To the Maya, the universe was a fragile balance that required constant nourishment. Kings and priests performed elaborate rituals to appease these gods and maintain cosmic order. Most famously, and perhaps most misunderstood, were the bloodletting rituals. Rulers would pierce their own bodies to offer their royal soul to the gods, believing these acts opened portals to the spirit world. Warfare, too, was a ritualistic feature of this era. It wasn't always about land. It was about capturing high-ranking rivals for sacrifice and asserting spiritual dominance. The political landscape was a dynamic tapestry of alliances and rivalries. Powerful polities like Tikal and Calakmul clashed frequently, their struggles for hegemony meticulously recorded in hieroglyphs. This was a vibrant, often brutal existence where every architectural element, from the corbel arch to the alignment of temples with the stars, reflected their deep understanding of their place within a living, breathing cosmos. Chapter 4. The Great Silence, the Classic Collapse. However, around 900 CE, this magnificent world experienced a profound and mysterious transformation known as the Great Collapse. Within a relatively short period, the great cities of the southern lowlands were abandoned. Construction stopped. The royal lineages disappeared. The elaborate inscriptions fell silent. But why? This question has puzzled archaeologists for decades. It wasn't a single cataclysm, but a confluence of factors. First, there was environmental degradation. As populations swelled into the millions, the Maya practiced aggressive farming that led to widespread deforestation and soil erosion. Simultaneously, a series of severe, century-long droughts struck the region. Imagine a vast network of cities, all simultaneously grappling with food shortages and a dwindling water supply. The divine kings who promised to control the rain lost their legitimacy when the skies stayed dry. Internal strife, endemic warfare, and peasant revolts likely followed, tearing the social fabric apart. The people didn't vanish. They simply dispersed, leaving their limestone giants to be swallowed by the jungle. Chapter 5. The Post-Classic Renaissance. The collapse was not the end. It was a relocation. While the South fell silent, the northern Yucatan Peninsula experienced a brilliant resurgence. This era, the post-classic period, saw the rise of new powers like Chichen Itza and Mayapan. These cities featured a different architectural style, blending traditional Maya forms with influences from central Mexico. The focus shifted from the absolute power of a single divine king to a more mercantile, trade-focused society. Coastal cities like Tulum thrived as port towns, facilitating the exchange of salt, cotton, and cacao beans, which the Maya used as a form of currency. They became masters of coastal navigation, using massive cedar canoes to connect the Yucatan with the rest of Mesoamerica. This was a more pragmatic, resilient Maya world. Even as the League of Mayapan eventually fractured into smaller, warring provinces, the culture remained vibrant and intellectually active. The Maya had reinvented themselves, proving that their civilization was as adaptable as it was ancient. Chapter 6. The Long Conquest. In the early 16th century, the horizon changed forever. The arrival of the Spanish was not a single event, but a brutal 200-year struggle. Unlike the Central Aztec Empire, which fell quickly, the Maya were decentralized. The Spanish had to conquer each city-state, one by one, through dense, fever-ridden jungles. But the deadliest weapon wasn't the sword, it was disease. Smallpox and measles, to which the Maya had no immunity, raced ahead of the conquistadors, wiping out entire villages before a single shot was fired. Along with the soldiers came the friars. In 1562, Friar Diego de Landa committed one of history's greatest cultural crimes. He burned thousands of Maya codices, believing they were works of the devil. In a single afternoon, centuries of recorded science, history, and philosophy turned to ash. Only 4 original Maya books survive today. Yet even as their temples were dismantled to build cathedrals, the Maya spirit went underground, preserving their language and rituals in the shadows of the colonial world. Chapter 7. The Maya today. The story of the Maya does not end in ruins. Today, they are a vibrant, living civilization of over 7 million people. They are the descendants of the Star Watchers, and they still walk the lands of their ancestors in Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. Modern Maya life is a beautiful tapestry of the old and the new. They still speak nearly 30 different Maya languages, and in many villages, the day keepers still use the ancient 260-day calendar to guide their communities. They have survived centuries of marginalization and civil war, emerging with a powerful voice for indigenous rights. Today, Maya archaeologists are digging into their own history, reclaiming the narrative of their ancestors. They are proving that a civilization is not defined by its collapse, but by its resilience. The thread that began with a single grain of maize thousands of years ago remains unbroken, a living testament to a people who mastered time and refused to be forgotten. Conclusion: the architects of time. As we look back across 3 millennia, what is the legacy of the Maya? They remind us that human genius can flourish in the most challenging environments. They show us that progress is not a straight line, but a cycle, much like their calendars. They were architects of limestone, but more importantly, they were architects of time itself. Their ruins are not tombstones, they are echoes. They invite us to look at the stars with the same wonder they did, and to remember that even when cities fall, the spirit of a culture can endure forever. This has been the complete history of the Maya, a journey through the heart of the jungle into the mind of the cosmos. Chapter 8: Life in the Limestone Shadow. To truly understand the Maya, we must look away from the kings for a moment and look at the people. What was it like to wake up in Tikal or Copan during the height of the Classic period? For the average Maya family, life began at dawn. Most lived in wooden, thatched roof houses located on the outskirts of the stone ceremonial centers. Their lives were governed by the soil and the seasons. The marketplace was the heart of every city. Here the air was thick with the scent of roasted cacao and spicy chilies. Because the Maya had no metal coins, trade was conducted through barter. Cacao beans were literally money growing on trees. A single bean could buy a tomato, while a few dozen could buy a turkey or a high-quality cotton cloak. Beyond food, the Maya were obsessed with beauty and status. They wore intricate tattoos, practiced dental inlaying with jade, and used elaborate head-flattening techniques to achieve what they considered a noble, elongated forehead, mimicking the shape of an ear of corn. Social structure was rigid but functional. Below the king and his royal family stood the nobles and priests, the keepers of knowledge. Then came the specialized craftsmen, the potters, weavers, and the elite scribes who held the ink in their veins. At the base were the farmers and laborers. It was their sweat that built the pyramids and their expertise in slash-and-burn agriculture that fed the millions. They managed sophisticated irrigation systems and chinampas, raised garden beds, that allowed them to grow crops in the swampy wetlands. This was a society of intense specialization, where every person, from the humblest farmer to the highest priest, played a role in the cosmic machine. Chapter 9: Pits, More Than Just a Game. No description of Maya life is complete without the pits. Every major city featured at least one massive eye-shaped stone ball court. But this wasn't just a sport, it was a ritual enactment of the Maya creation myth. The game represented the battle between the hero twins and the lords of the underworld. The players used a solid rubber ball, sometimes weighing up to 8 pounds, and they couldn't use their hands or feet. They used their hips, elbows, and knees to keep the ball in motion, aiming to pass it through a high stone ring. The physical toll was immense, often requiring heavy leather padding. But the stakes were higher than points. In some major ceremonial games, the outcome was tied to the movement of the sun and moon. While popular myth suggests the losers were always sacrificed, it was more likely a rare, high-stakes event reserved for prisoners of war or significant religious festivals. For the Maya, the thwack of the rubber ball against stone was the sound of the universe staying in motion. Chapter 10: Medicine in the Underworld. To the Maya, the physical body and the spiritual soul were inseparable. If a person fell ill, it wasn't just a biological failure. It was a sign that their soul was out of balance with the cosmos. Maya healers, known as shaman priests, were master botanists. They utilized thousands of plants from the rainforest to create remedies. They understood the use of cinchona bark for fevers and various fungi for infections. essentially using a form of penicillin centuries before it was discovered in the West. But their most fascinating medical practice was surgery. Using blades made of obsidian, a volcanic glass that can be sharpened to a molecular edge, Maya surgeons performed successful brain surgeries and sutured wounds using human hair. They even practiced advanced dentistry using jade and turquoise inlays for the elite. However, when medicine failed, the Maya faced the ultimate journey, the descent into Xibalba, the place of fear. This was the Maya underworld, a terrifying subterranean kingdom ruled by the lords of death. They believed the entrance to Xibalba lay within the deep, water-filled caves known as cenotes. These sinkholes were sacred portals. To ensure a safe passage for a departed king or to beg for rain during a drought, the Maya offered precious gifts to the cenotes: gold, jade, and occasionally ritual sacrifices. They believed that life and death were not opposites, but two sides of the same turning coin, connected by the dark waters of the earth. Chapter 11. The Era of Discovery. For centuries after the Spanish conquest, the great classic cities were forgotten by the outside world, swallowed by the relentless advance of the jungle. It wasn't until the 1830s that explorers like John Lloyd Stephens and Frederick Catherwood rediscovered the ruins. Their detailed drawings of Tikal and Copan sparked a global fascination that has never faded. Today, we are in a new golden age of Maya archaeology. We no longer have to dig to see the past. Using LiDAR technology, lasers fired from planes, we have stripped away the jungle canopy digitally. This has revealed something shocking. The Maya civilization was much larger than we ever imagined. We have found tens of thousands of previously unknown houses, fortifications, and irrigation canals. We now know that the Maya didn't just live in isolated cities. They lived in a massive, interconnected urban landscape that supported up to 20 million people. This discovery has changed everything we thought we knew, proving that the Maya were not just architects of time, but the masters of one of the most densely populated and engineered landscapes in human history. Chapter 12. The Legacy of the Stars. As we reach the end of our journey through the corridors of Maya history, we must ask ourselves, what remains? We have seen the birth of villages in the mud, the rise of divine kings who touch the clouds, and the silent, haunting abandonment of the southern heartland. But the legacy of the Maya is not found only in broken stone. It is found in the very way we understand our place in the universe. The Maya taught us that time is not a prison, but a rhythm. Their observation of the cosmos was so precise that their calculations of the solar year are more accurate than the Gregorian calendar we use today. They were a people who looked at a jagged, chaotic jungle and saw a mathematical order. They remind us that civilization is a fragile flame, one that requires a delicate balance between human ambition and the natural world. The final outro, Beyond the Horizon. The sun sets today over the ruins of Chichen Itza, just as it did 1,000 years ago. The jaguars still prowl the shadows of the Petén, and the descendants of the Maya still speak the names of the old gods in their prayers. They are a testament to human resilience. They survived the droughts of the 9th century, the steel of the 16th century, and the silence of the 20th. The story of the Maya, architects of time, is a story of us all. Our desire to build, our struggle to survive, and our need to be remembered. As the jungle vines continue to grow and the stars continue to turn in their ancient cycles, the Maya remain, not as a ghost of the past, but as a living bridge to our future. Thank you for journeying through 3 millennia of starlight and stone. This has been the complete history of the Maya.